Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Good morning, everybody. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley. Or I guess you're probably not listening to this in the morning. It's Game 4 Avs Stars. We are previewing it live right here. Avs just wrapped morning skate. The Dallas Stars are on the ice behind us. It is going to be a fun one here tonight. A lot on the line. In my opinion, the series is on the line. Let's get into all of it. I'm Jesse Montano. She's Meghan Angley. Meghan, it was an optional morning skate for the Avs. It looks like a full morning skate for the Stars. The Avs did take a full practice yesterday. We saw Gabe Landeskog on the ice. We saw Marty Netchus on the ice. We know what changes are coming to the power play. Let's start by kind of running through these lines. We went through it yesterday. Gabe Landeskog moved up to that second line. Jonathan Drouin drops down to the third. What are your thoughts on just the that movement right there, getting Gabe with Brock and Val?
Yeah, he's a spark plug for this team, and I talked about it on the show yesterday, but I think that second line has a bit of an identity crisis right now. They're going through the motions of hockey, doing a lot of things well defensively, but they're missing that extra spark, and nobody embodies the identity of the Colorado Avalanche better than Gabriel Landeskog. So I love the switch, and I do think that Jonathan Drouin has not gotten to a level that he'd like to be in this series yet so far, but he has a playmaking skill and ability that can inject a little bit more offense and creativity into that third line in a way that I think helps them too. So I like it both ways.
Well, and it's you're putting Jonathan Drouin with Charlie Coyle, who I think has been, not that there have been dark spots or anything like that, but I think he's been a bright spot in this series for the Avs. Despite being down 2-1, I think Charlie Coyle has been really good. And this is where having that luxury of being able to put Jonathan Drouin next to a guy like him on your third line, it's not like you're relegating Jonathan Drouin to, a bump and grind kind of line, But other than that, Sam Malinski drew into his first NHL game. We didn't glean a lot from what that lineup will look like today, but what did you think of him in his debut? I liked a lot of what I saw. I thought it was a little bit of a continuation from the way he came out of Four Nations. What did you think?
Yeah, I think he built upon what he was doing really well in the back half of the year, which was tending to the defensive details and being harder to play against. I asked Jared Bednar about it yesterday, and he talked about how Malinski is an undersized defenseman, and he's going up against a physical, heavy Dallas Stars team that might try to exploit that in Malinski, but Malinski absorbed contact, and he was really strong in his skates. I thought he made a lot of smart decisions in his own end, but you saw the offensive side of his game flourish, too. Obviously picks up a point in his first playoff game. A pretty simple play, moving the puck across the blue line, but you saw the shots that he was directing to the net front, and you could see the power in the shots and how that can just help the bottom line, what the Avs needing to generate more offense right now. I think the offensive tools that Malinski has give them an edge in this series where they need it most on the back end right now. So he looked comfortable, he looked confident, and I really felt that he held his own very well. There were a couple communication issues at times, and I think he got that out of his system a little bit. That was drawing in Newly, working with Lindgren at times. It did feel like there was a miscue, but it was never an issue in terms of being a liability. So I really liked his playoff debut.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Jared Bednar called out when we talked to him yesterday about hey, he handled the physicality really well as well. Sam Malinski, technically an undersized guy to be playing on the back end in a really heavy physical series here. Jared Bednar said that he thought that he handled it well. And what you and I talk about so often with Cale Makar and more specifically Sam Girard is these are guys that are maybe a little bit underrated in their own end. Maybe not. I don't know if Cale Makar's underrated at anything league-wide, but Sam Girard for sure. People don't give him quite enough credit. I feel similarly about Sam Malinski that, maybe some of the conversation in games 1 and 2 as to why they went with EJ over Sam Malinski was, hey, maybe you want a little bit more defensive prowess and, stronger in your own end. I think that's selling really short what Sam Malinski is capable of, and I think he had that on display in Game 3. But then to your point, the Avs need to generate offense right now. Tonight, we need to see them have a big offensive push. I'm not even necessarily saying they need to break out for 7 goals, but they need to make life difficult for Oettinger. More pucks need to be getting to the net. And look, just flat out, Sam Malinski is going to do that for you at a higher rate than Erik Johnson at this point in his career. So I would like to see Sam Malinski draw back in again tonight. You're at home. You can control the matchups a little bit more. Knowing that you can always go right back to Erik Johnson if you ever feel like you need to within this series. But I think for what the Avs are looking for right now, Sam Malinski is going to provide plenty of it on the back end and help more with driving that offense towards the net up front.
Yeah, one area that the Avs are probably going to bear down on is their discipline. I don't think they've been an undisciplined team. I think the way this series has been officiated has best been described as weird, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think there have been some soft calls on both sides of it, and then things that they've let slide that's like, that actually probably would have been a call. So anyways, I think the officiating's been a little weird, so there's only so much that the Avs can account for that. But they need to play on the line pretty perfectly tonight, because where they've been hurt so far in the series is special teams. And so on the Malinski conversation, that's where Erik Johnson can help eat up penalty kill minutes and weather the special teams storm a little bit better. And so that's where they want to put their best foot forward and avoid being shorthanded. I know that's easier said than done, but it's a lethal power play on behalf of Dallas. And even though the kill has been good for Colorado and Mackenzie Blackwood has been excellent, if they can be as disciplined as possible and not allow that to be any sort of advantage for Dallas, it's going to be crucial. Yeah, all right. Well, so that actually is going to move us right into our 3 keys. We're each going to give 3 keys to this game tonight. We're going to unpack them a little bit here. For me, and I'm not sure I'm going to be taking one of yours, but it is exactly what you said. You got to win the special teams battle here tonight. That has cost the Avs in such huge ways in the last 2 games. Game 3, I don't love that call, Megan. I do not love the call that ends up putting the Avs back on the PK, where they end up having to make the, they were trying to make the kill, and Dallas ends up scoring the goal to get it tied. But you're dealt the hand that you're dealt, and the Avs need to get a kill there. They've lost the special teams battle the last 2 games. Yeah, I think that's a great shout out. I think the power play struggled a little bit in Game 3 in key moments where they needed them to score on the man advantage. Even though they have capitalized on the power play through 2 of 3 games so far, you see how thin those margins are and why it's so important for them to get that power play going again. So hopefully Gabriel Landeskog can inject some life and some net front presence and grit into that top unit, and just the new blood gives them the spark that they need to capitalize on any power play opportunities that they get. Yeah, 100%. What's key for you? All right, one of my keys is going to be fearless hockey. I look at the start of Game 1, and there were times I wrote in my notes in period 1, game 1, they're playing kind of a high wire act right now, but that was when they were most dangerous in terms of creating opportunities. And obviously it rewarded them later in that game. It's a game that they should look back on for a lot of reasons. Obviously, winning 5-1, you do a lot of things right in that regard. Now, Dallas has a say in this too, so they've sort of cleaned up their act, tightened things up defensively, making that harder to recreate. But I think the thing that was missing the last couple games that was present in Game 1 was fearless hockey, and that's moving the puck quickly off your stick and not hesitating, not deferring to pass to when the shot is an option, and also getting bodies to the interior of the ice. I know it's a dangerous area to play, making plays below the goal line. You know, it's going to require playing a little bit fearlessly, but I have every faith that the Avs team can do it. Safe is death. Andrew Cogliano told us that. Jared Bednar has told us that. In the playoffs, safe is death. So I like that one a lot. Second key for me, Megan, is going to be goaltending. Mackenzie Blackwood has been a star in this series so far for the Avs. Was that one of yours? No. Okay, all right. I like it. I like it. But as Jared Bednar told us, I believe it was just yesterday, Jake Ottinger has had a big say in these last couple games as well. The Avs have needed to extend that lead by 1 more, and Jake Ottinger has not let it get by. Again, Mackenzie Blackwood, I think, has been outstanding as well. Again, the Avs have only trailed for 62 seconds in this series. Mackenzie Blackwood has done his job to this point, but it's got to keep going, and he has to win the battle tonight against Jake Ottinger. He's one of the best goaltenders so far in the playoffs for goals saved above expected, which also means that there have been some high danger opportunities coming his way. He's not getting beat clean on grade A's. He's, it's the second and third attempts that challenge him. So I want to see the Avs make that exact same kind of danger and chaos for Jake Ottinger. Make Ottinger make saves. And that's where I've seen the Avs look most dangerous. And so my next key, I'm a little torn between a couple, but there's too many keys to this game. There's too many keys to this game. Like a janitor over here. I just got keys coming off all over the place. I'm going to key in on speed. Going to key in on speed. It's the strength of this Avs team, and it's not that they've abandoned it, but you could see that it wears Dallas down to keep up with the Avs when it becomes a track race up and down the ice. And this sort of lends itself to fearless hockey because when you play that style of hockey, it can burn you the other way really quickly. But I think the Avs need to trust that they have the speed both ways to back check and cover themselves if they need to on a broken play. But more importantly, I don't think they're capitalizing on their speed, not just on entry and in transition, but also their ability to race for pucks below the goal line and establish the zone more quickly. I think moving the puck to utilizing their speed on that high cycle is where they haven't leaned into their speed of thought and their speed of play enough at this point.
Yeah. I love that because it leads perfectly into what my third key is, and it's a transition.
Love it.
I want the Avs to be playing quicker off the transition, more effective through the neutral zone. I felt like that in the first game in particular. Not the Avs haven't been able to do that in games 2 and 3, but it was to a way less degree of efficiency and effectiveness. I thought in game 1 the Avs owned the neutral zone. Whether it be defending, forcing Dallas to turn over pucks.
One of my favorite parts.
But also turning those pucks back up the ice quickly and taking Dallas out. It forced Dallas. They couldn't play that suffocating style that we've seen them deploy the last 2 games here. It forced Dallas to have to try to defend with speed that, as you were just pointing out, can be a struggle for them when you start rolling all 4 lines. The Avs playing like that. I want to see them get back to that, owning that neutral zone and transitioning from defense to offense quickly. I
really like that. Skate, skate, skate. Don't take penalties. Mackenzie Blackwood is good. Am I missing anything?
No.
Cool.
I think that's it.
Back-end contributions was like kind of a shout-out. Special teams battle. Win the special teams battle.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Special teams battle. Play with speed. Skate. Mackenzie Black would be better than the guy at the other end.
That's pressure diamonds.
That's pressure diamonds.
That's pressure diamonds.
Megan, then we'll wind things down here and we'll see if we have different players. Who is going to be your difference maker for tonight?
So when you said Mackenzie Blackwood, that was who I wanted to roll with.
Okay, all right.
But that's an obvious one. I don't think we've talked enough about how Mackenzie Blackwood is a huge reason why the Avs are in this series with a solid foundation and a confidence behind them, and it's because of what Blackwood's doing in net. So it's important for him to keep doing that. But I'm actually going to go with Val Nichushkin. This is a player that, even rusty after 6 months of not having played hockey or returning from injury throughout points in the season, even Val Nichushkin coming off injury or having missed some time is such a threat on the ice. He's so difficult to play against. There's such a powerful presence in how he plays. It's why he fits that power forward mold, and then he's so long and large that it's just very hard to defend against. I haven't seen that Val Nichushkin show up yet in the series. The 4v4 goal that he gets in Game 3, pretty easy business, to be honest. Dallas disconnected from their controllers on that play. And so I want to see Val Nichushkin get a real Val Nichushkin goal. A greasy one off his body, any body part, as long as it counts as a goal. I want to see greasy, difficult to play against Val Nichushkin.
Well, let's dive into this a little bit more because I think he is such an important player. And I think back to, and I hate always going back to the 2022 run, but
it's a blueprint for success.
It's a blueprint for success, and we don't really have a ton of playoffs to talk about for Val outside of that since. He's missed some time in the playoffs. Not sure if you guys know. But, in that Stanley Cup final in particular, I think about just what a nightmare Val Nichushkin was for the Tampa Bay Lightning, trying to get out of their own zone. He was an absolute puck hound below the goal line, at the blue lines, just constantly turning pucks over, causing the Lightning to have to turn pucks back. And it made what is still, to this day, even though they're on the verge of going down 3-0 in this series today, what is still a very good, very efficient Tampa Bay Lightning team. You have Victor Hedman, one of the most efficient guys moving the pucks up and out, and Val Nichushkin made their lives hell. And that's the Val that I don't think we have seen show up in this series yet. He scores a nice goal. Like you said, gets a little bit of help from Matt Duchene powering down, kind of able to walk in on a breakaway, but we haven't seen the Val that just makes your life a living nightmare. And that's what I want to see here tonight.
No, I love it. Val Nichushkin, in parentheses, threat. Yeah. He just should exist as a threat at all times.
And I just, again, he scored a goal. It's not that he has been invisible in this series, but he's just not doing those quintessential things that make him the unicorn that we hear Jared Bednar talk about him as at times.
Yeah.
My difference maker tonight, and this is, again, maybe another low-hanging fruit moment, it's Cale Makar.
It's Cale Makar.
It's Cale Makar. Really struggled in Game 3. Analytically, to the eye test, couldn't hit the net, was kind of fighting the puck. As Jared Bednar puts it, he beating it up at times. And I think we've seen historically Cale Makar rebounds from those games really, really well. Takes what he needs to out of those games, learns his lessons, and then comes out and kind of steps on the gas. I want to see that from Cale Makar tonight and have a dominant night where he takes over a bit.
Yeah, I don't think that opening up the offensive side of the game for this team is going to be an easy task. We've identified it as a key thing for them to do. I don't think it's going to be easy, but Makar is such a conduit for offense in this team, and it's by design. A lot of it runs through Makar for a reason, and so they're counting on him. And to your point, he has a track record of doing this, responding well to tough games and being that difference maker. So I'm counting on it.
Yeah, they need him, right? You're not going to win. You're going to have a hard time winning this game tonight, and you're not winning the series without Cale Makar going the way that he needs to. Megan, let's wind things down here. We talked a lot about what the Avs need to do. This sounds like a confident group behind us here. The Avs have maybe controlled play, maybe pushed the pace more in this series. They maybe had the better of the overall play through 3 games. They've held the lead for large stretches of this series, yet find themselves down 2-1. This is a group right now on the ice behind us that believes they can win no matter what. How do the Avs... Well, I guess, what are your thoughts on where the Stars team is at right now before I ask you about the Avs dealing with this?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for them as an opponent for a reason. I think game by game, the adjustments they've made have been perfectly tailored to counter a lot of the things that the Avs do well. And this is with a young D-core that has had to pivot with some of these adjustments. Players like Thomas Harley eating up kind of insane minutes in the absence of Heiskanen. And I know within the forward group, too, they've gotten some contributions from around the lineup, but I think there's a feeling around Dallas that even their own stars haven't fully shown up in this series yet to date. I think some of the Avs deserve credit for their defensive details in that conversation, too, and shutting down Dallas in a bit of ways. But there's a lot of resilience in that group that's practicing behind us, and it's not something I would underestimate then. You know, they didn't just get the victory the last 2 games, they got the moral victory too.
Yes.
And it's huge for the mindset then in that locker room. It's something to operate with a lot of confidence on, and so that's a dangerous springboard. But I also defer to the maturity and the experience of the Avs, who their path to the Cup, I know it seemed like it was an enchanted fairy tale in 2022, but I look at like the St. Louis series, or even not closing things out in Game 5 at home for the Avs with the Tampa series, and how they've been in a place of pressure before where there's disappointment, where they had a stronghold over the series and they kind of let it slip through their grasp. And they responded well, and it was voices in the room like a Cogliano or a Landeskog, and they still have those same voices around this team right now, but they also have the benefit of leaders like Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon only improving in their individual games, but growing as leaders as well. And so I won't underestimate the Dallas Stars for a second, but they are still without Heiskanen and Robertson. Jake Ottinger's playing good, but I think Mackenzie Blackwood has had to be just a little bit better, so I want to see the Avs push Ottinger to the level that we've seen Blackwood push in this series, and I think the Avs still have a great chance.
This is a team behind us and their core that is extremely comfortable in these types of series. Whether it be them being behind, losing important games and bouncing back, or just winning tight games. And I said it on the pod yesterday, the Avs need to find a way to make these guys uncomfortable. Dallas, they haven't won anything since the 90s, but they've gone deep several times in recent years. Stanley Cup final in 2020, multiple Western Conference finals in since then. This is a team that goes deep. They know how to win these grinded out, slow moving kind of series. And this is what goes back to what I was talking about transition and what you were talking about playing with speed. The Avs got to force these guys out of their comfort zone. This series for me has played out the exact way that Dallas wants it. I think that's why they're probably feeling pretty good right now. And to your point about getting that moral victory, it's playing the way that they want it to, and now they've gotten the results 2 nights in a row where all they needed was 1 shot to break through. I think they deserved, Dallas, that is, I think they deserved Game 3, and they got the result that they deserved. But that does not change the fact that in both Games 2 and 3, the Avs have been on the doorstep with opportunities to win in regulation and in overtime, and they haven't been able to break through, and Dallas found a way to come out on top. The Avs need to get back, one, in the win column and even this series. I think this series is over if Dallas wins tonight. the Avs need to get this series evened up, and they need to cast some doubt in the minds of the Dallas Stars, because right now this is a we got them right where we want them kind of moment for the Stars, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a switch in the driver's seat. Like, the Avs are in the driver's seat right now. They've opened the scoring. They've led for the majority of this series. Obviously, Game 1 was a more dominant effort in terms of getting goals past Ottinger. They're in the driver's seat, but that can change tonight. And suddenly there's a new driver of that bus, and it's going full speed in Dallas's direction.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's going to do it here, Megan. Avs Stars, it's going to be closer to a 7:50 puck drop here in Denver again, but we'll be here bringing you guys everything post-game. We'll be live after the game again as well. Here we go, Megan. I think this is the series here tonight. The Avs got to find a win, find a way to win. I don't think you're coming back from 3-1 against the Dallas Stars, especially if they eventually do ever get any of those reinforcements. This is the series on the line tonight. Avs got to get it done in front of the home crowd. She's Meghan Angley. I'm Jesse Montano. Mark behind the glass here this morning. Avs Stars, Game 4 tonight here at Ball Arena.